On the head we're going to take a look at is right beside the jaw on either side, right underneath where the lips come to an end on either side. There's a nerve that sticks out of a hole in the jaw called the mental foramen, and it's actually called the mental nerve that sticks out of there. What happens is that nerve runs through the facial nerve and connects into the spine. So anything under this juncture in the spine, the brain nerve impulses from the brain down to the body, they get stopped right there because the impulses are so drastic coming up that the body can't support the energy coming down to fire up the muscles, make them strong, and make them able to be used. So just by pressing on this point, you can weaken the whole body where they just lose control, because what's happening is you're sending a surge of energy up into their head via a nerve impulse. Now what I did with that is I just grabbed the chin, the whole chin. I used the first knuckle on my thumb. I find that you can do this with your fingers and get a good reaction, but it's not as drastic because you got the soft fingertips padding the area. I need a sharper instrument to work, so if I do that, you can see that there's a much better reaction. You can even dizzy the person up on this. If I do this and I shake a little bit, okay, they get a little bit dizzy, so you have to revive them just a little bit, okay, which isn't a bad thing when you're trying to control an individual, okay? So you can just, as rapidly as you want, get the person under control, drop them so they're not thinking about you. Now that you've seen the rapid response that you can get off touching this mental nerve, okay, I'm going to give you a couple other things that you can work with this. For example, you're trying to turn the person's head. For whatever reason, you need to turn them by the head, okay, and they're resisting. It's physically impossible, especially if the guy's a lot bigger than you, to turn that head with just physical force. It just doesn't happen. The neck's too strong. So tighten up again. If I just dig that knuckle, it automatically turns the individual right there. So I'm not using my strength. And if I don't use my strength, I don't fatigue. If I don't fatigue, I don't get into an over-adrenalized state where I start losing mental control and physical control. I need to maintain my control at all times, as well as the perpetrator's control. Okay, so that's an important factor. Another good thing that we found out through use in narcotics agencies around the world is this can prevent someone from swallowing drugs. Okay, now we're not going to put anything in his mouth to swallow, but I'm going to ask him afterwards to tell us if he could or not. Okay, swallow right now. It's easy for him to swallow, correct? Okay, if I drop this, swallow, 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 could you swallow? No. Okay, what it does is, first of all, it compresses the throat a little bit, so it makes it very difficult to swallow on a physical basis. But what happens is when you press on both of these nerves, the tongue actually fattens in the rear. Okay, and it presses against the teeth, and it will not allow anything to go down the throat. So if you're having trouble with a perpetrator that just popped some drugs in their mouth, they're trying to swallow it to get away from your finding it, okay, just drop both of them down, hold that chin down, and you get him into that position. Now from there, you're going to have to open up his jaw. So all you do is after you've pressed the person down, just say open, 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 okay, and he won't be able to swallow as you're doing that. Now I'm sorry, because that really hurts, but they won't be able to swallow. You can get them to open up their mouth, and you can get them to dislodge the drugs before they get them swallowed. All right, what we're going to do now is you need to get the guy down in a seated position. He's facing you. When you just drop right into this, we can get him right down onto the ground, and at that point, we could actually turn him into a position where he's belly down. So it's easy to control the individual. Come on up for a second. Right. Another really important aspect about this is choking in law enforcement and security actions is not really a good thing, even though sometimes you really need to go about getting that position. Instead of coming across the windpipe where you can cause all sorts of damage and problems for the person, permanent damage as well, what you need to do is maintain the control over the individual and get him weakened, okay, but you don't want to damage. So you push down onto the mental nerve at that point. I'm using this knuckle now, okay, and I'm just going to put that knuckle down there and press, okay, and now I can get him to sit, and then I can roll him over into a control position as well. All right, so the mental nerve is very valuable, very versatile.